Afternoon everyone, so today we're at a Ford Focus Ecoboost, and it's a 2015 model. Customer's complaint is check engine light is on, so we've done a full code scan. What comes up? Oh dear. A P2096 post catalyst fuel trim system 2 lean. Bank 1. Now it will only be bank 1 because there's only one bank on this thing, so it's just a 4 cylinders. Some of them are 3 cylinder right now, I'll have to check it. So post catalyst fuel system 2 lean. So either the sensor's wonky or the cat has had its day. Now it's a Ford, so my money would be on the cat has had its day. Because even from the factory, they are rubbish. So let's have maybe a bit easier to jump into generic OBD, but we'll look at this first of all. Displayed, so it's P2096, and that's repeated 3 times, so it's continuous memory DTC snapshot data and freeze frame mode 2. So I was actually thinking there could be a hole in the exhaust. That would cause post catalyst to lean. So let's go back, and wonder what OBD function does. Oh yes, maybe that will give us freeze frame. Mill status on, readiness completed 0, readiness, so I agree with that. Upstream protocol. So going to mode 2, read freeze frame. Current powertrain diagnostic data. You think so? So at the moment, there's that freeze frame catalyst. So it's guy toasty, 568 degrees. Let's say, I'm not sure if that's freeze frame or no. So it's got DTC stored in the ECU is 0 at the moment. No, can't it be that? That must be freeze frame. Let's go next one. So 14 volts, 296. It's at full operating temperature, engine RPM 1396. So equivalency ratio, anything above 1, see that one there, is lean, anything below 1 is rich, so is slightly lean. Fuel level, it's in closed loop. Percentage, I'm not really sure what that means. So manifold 23 kPa, fuel and 10%, so it's getting near its 15%, which you don't want. Number of warm-ups 93, oxygen. So it's a milliamp, so we'll be concentrating on bank 1 sensor 2. So that's showing rich there. So I know the theory is if the O2 sensor doesn't like it, it'll probably be the cat. That'll get some PIDs. That's the car started, but being honest with you, you hear a leak in the exhaust already? We've got a O2 sensor, sensor 2 lean. So it's either a hole in the exhaust, a bad catalytic converter, or we're actually lean. I don't know, but there's a wee rasp, but I didn't hear a leak, do you? No. So we just went into generic OBD and picked a few functions, so you can see that bank 1 sensor 1, that's going rich and lean. We're now in closed loop. The fuel air equivalency ratio is 1, so that's good, we're hovering about that. Long term fuel trim in bank 1, that's a bit dodgy, 16. And oxygen sensor, current bank 1 sensor 1, so you can see we can get that to move. But oxygen sensor output voltage bank 1 sensor 2, that's dead. We cannot get any movement on this. So I think we require an O2 sensor, because if it's, let me see, that'll work with voltage. So, right. No movement in that at all. Right, so we cleared the code and took it a run, and the oxygen sensor bank 1 sensor 2's came back to life, so we're ready to jump the gun there, so that was wrong. We're looking at the fuel trims. Bank 1, short term looks okay. It's difficult to say. And then Rodriguez at the welly there. You see that's responding. I think maybe just it was back to either a hole in the cat or an aging cat. But then again, it's going to lean. Now, this is a bit worrying. Long term is up above 15, so there you go. When we were giving it a constant run there at 60 mile an hour, we're up at 20, so I think it's more an upstream issue that's causing the downstream issue, if you know what I mean. That one's staying steady now. I'll show you that. When you're sitting idle, that graph is not following the bank 1 sensor one, so to me that seems to be working, because it's staying. It's maybe a bit high, it's at 0.74, but it is working. I think we're going to check it use our smoke tester and check it for any air leaks. Not really sure. Right, we've got another Ford, but this is a Ford Fiesta. This is the 1.6 Ecoboost. So we're trying to get good readings off of this little machine. So you can see that long-term fuel trim, that's at 3.9, so that's good. Oxygen sensor current now, we're at idle, so it will go high if we rev it. Now here's the oxygen sensor bank 1 sensor 2. So you can see that's remaining quite steady, but when you do rev it, you are getting fluctuations. But you can see it takes a dive in case quite steady. But the other thing's got to say short term 3.12, and we're in closed loop. We notice that other car, it's ignoring bank 1 sensor 2, the downstream oxygen sensor, and it's switching it off. So right, so if you read this PID under the manufacturer's data, downstream oxygen sensor fuel control disabled, yes. So we haven't even got the engine light on, nor a code within manufacturers, but within OBD it's a permanent code, so I'll let you see this, so it's yes. So let's go back again, go into OBD function. Now, in the manufacturers, I cleared out the cam, so that cleared out the memory, so that takes out the long-term fuel trim, so I'll let you read this. Select all, okay. So, come to the next one. Equivalence, that's not too bad. Fuel rail pressure 5660. Is that normal? I don't know. Closed loop, fine. That's rich. Ignition advance, there's hardly any advance on that actually. Right, oxygen sensor. So you see that one's flattened again, because that's that permanent code in OBD. There's the upstream oxygen sensor. Short term is 8. And where's long term went to? Long term 3, it's starting to climb. So that will get back up to 16. So 3 plus 9, say, so 11. A wee bit better, but I think your problem's still, I don't think it's downstream the problem, but keep flatlining that sensor. So let's come out of this. Let's go back. Let's read fault codes. Internal control, no, that's because I cleared the cam. And permanent post-catalyst fuel trim system tooling bank 1. So post-catalyst, so it's after the cat, it's too lean. Now I was wondering about these, let me see, the long term. Now my question is the long term taken for sensor 1 or sensor 2? That's what I'm not sure of. Let me see. So we're in closed loop. So it just says, oops, long-term fuel trim bank 1. So it doesn't say it's sensor 1 or 2. So let's pull that sensor. Just having a finding the features of this scan tool. So you see you can do a power balance test. I'll show you this. This is quite nice. Okay. This is a feature usually found on the Ford IDS. There you go. And you can clear it. There you go. So that's a good function. Right, we've cleared the keep alive memory again, so it's went into closed loop. The long-term fuel trim is at 0, and see that sensor 2 still showing 1.25. We cannot get that to work again like we done before. So it'll be interesting to see how our short term. No, that's bank 2. Oh dear, we've got a short term here. I will have. So we'll rev it. We should expect this figure to go up rapidly. There we go, that's that figure. There we go, look at this. So that'll settle about 14, and then that'll put it into the long term. So you see we've got nothing in the long term at the moment. But there's definitely a problem, because when we rev that up, well, it's still staying high. So it's not like it's got an air leak or anything like that. So that'll start correcting itself into there, and then that one will start coming down. But we can't clear that permanent fault of the post-catalytic converter too lean. So here it is, the rear O2 oxygen sensor. So we're under the car, we took the tray off, so it's buried at the back there. So this is our gamble. Spoke to Steve at SY Diagnostics, and he says the long term is taken from this secondary O2 sensor. And as I said to you a year ago, the front one failed. Ford says they're notorious for failure. They sell plenty of them, so let's change it and let's watch our fuel trims. So we had to remove this piping and the air filter that goes in here, and you can see there's a connector in there. So that's for the secondary O2 sensor. So everything's back together. You've kind of got to route it around the corner and back down there. You can see the blue wire. So make sure it goes into its clips or you'll roast on the exhaust. So there we go. So there's the old oxygen sensor. Looks a bit sooty, but who knows. It's usually the heater circuit that goes in them, Steve said, but the heater seemed to be fine on this one. It wasn't complaining about it via the fault codes. The other one he said was coolant can poison them, but our coolant level seems to be okay, so I wouldn't think that would be the issue. Anyway, so we'll go back in and read the fault codes, see if it's returned, so we'll retrieve them. Nothing at the moment, but that was the one I showed you was in OBD 10, so that's permanent codes, and if it doesn't run its monitors, it'll no clear that mode 10 code. It must run its monitors in order to clear that. That will stay in for 400 days. Anyway, so we'll go into special function, and obviously, oh there it is, reset cam. So that's a keep alive memory, so we'll do that, and that will clear out a long term and short term. Set the ignition to on its own, on OK. The test is completed, so we'll go put the ignition to off. So we'll go back into our data, read fault, no, what we'll do, we'll go into OBD, easier to read, and just wait the new Roddy on. So this is just going for a cold start. You can see it's 24 degrees, right Roddy, go for it my man. We're in open loop at the moment. We've cleared out a long term and short term. That voltage is still at 1.275. Right, so the first O2 is switching. Let's come back. That one's still at 1.275. Fuel trim's no bad, it's climbing a wee. Sorry, I just missed that. So Steve says that voltage usually says about 0.7, so we're looking good at the moment, fingers crossed. So it's stuck at 1 point, whatever that was, 1.25, it's came back to life. Our fuel trim's at 7.8, which you think should be a bit lower, but this is a cold start. Temperature is 48, we're in closed loop. So what we can check, we'll come back to that, we'll see if the monitors have run. So we'll come out of that, back out of that, read the monitors. Let's see, we'll go for this one. So fuel system monitor not complete, nothing's complete yet. O2 sensor not complete, EGR not complete. Right, the best thing to do is to give this a run, but we'll go back after DTC's cleared. Ready. Catalyst not ready, not supported. O2 sensor monitor, oh, not ready. O2 sensor, no, we need to wait for them to run. Right, we'll go and give it a run. So, there you go, 0.7. Now, it wasn't doing that yesterday, as you've seen, so it's looking good. Right, enough short terms at 10. Let's see what long term's at. Long term still to correct itself, that's at 0, so you'd imagine the short term 10 will get put into that. So you can see here, this is the short term fuel trim bank 1. So when we're actually revving it, we're maintaining a rev, say at 3000 RPM, it's coming down nicely. It's when we go back to idle, it's going to 9%, which we can cope with. Plus or minus 15 is what you want, but still a bit high for a new car. But we're going to take it a run, see if the monitors will run. There you go, that's when that secondary oxygen sensor comes to life. And then that's when I was revving it just like there, so you can see the idle here is heating up 0.6, so we'll go up to say 3000 RPM. So that's good. And one thing I would say, there's not the same smell off the exhaust. It was smelling rich yesterday, so I think it's cured it. Let's see these monitors. Ready, not ready. So the catalyst monitor's not ready. O2 sensor monitor not ready. O2 sensor monitor not ready. So they're still to run. We'll just let it idle here. We'll just use the little scan tool here, so you can see these codes are still no completing, but we've got no DTCs and we'll have no pending codes, so we think maybe 3 stop starts and it'll be cold stop starts, so we'll leave it to the morning and see what comes off it, but certainly smells better and it's going fine, and we'll leave it at that.